Welcome to Rajiv Gandhi IS Academy Daily News Analysis, and this is me Noish Nihal, and today I'll be presenting you daily news analysis of 19 December 2021. So moving on with the first news, and the first news is there is this push for statehood for Ladakh. So as we all know, this is Ladakh. We for an Article 3 after Article 370 has been abrogated, a separate state was being formed, and now it's being 2 years of Article 370 been abrogated. So Ladakh absorbed a shutdown to absorb it, and there were different demands on this shutdown, and the demands with were protection of Ladakh under sixth schedule of the constitution, and filling of 12,000 vacancy, and also allocation of two Lok Sabha seat and one Rajya Sabha seat for Ladakh. These were the demands of the shutdown which was happening in Ladakh, and also the a day later Ladakh's only member in the Lok Sabha, General Namgyal, demanded constitutional safeguard for the amendment of Ladakh also, and he also demanded that land, employment, and cultural identity of Ladakh should be protected. And many people were in synchronization with this demand that this thing should be done. And also he said that the Ladakhi people were against 370 because the attitude of Kashmiri bureaucrats was not good. So there was this tussle between the administration and the local bodies. So Ladakh was Ladakh was in support of organization 370. So this was the thing. So this all thing were presented by him, that Ladakh is now in a condition for a full statehood, and a full statehood should be given to Ladakh. So moving on to the Ladakh part. So we all know the importance of Ladakh. It's a bordering region, and it is bordered by Chinese Tibet Autonomous Region to the east, and Indian state of Himachal Pradesh to south, and both Indian Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir and Pakistan administered Gilgit Baltistan to the west. So although this portion is in India, but currently it's in POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and this portion is Gilgit Baltistan. So it is Ladakh is neighbored by this Gilgit province of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And moving on, there is this river system. There are different rivers, and when it comes to UPSC examination, these rivers are quite important. So the first river is Indus River, and its major tributes are Shyok Nubra, Changchemo, Henle Zanskar, and Surudras. These rivers are there in this region. And also glycofluvial process aided by freeze thaw weathering have formed high altitude l- landscape of Ladakh. So this glycofluvial process is similarly to the process which happened in like alluvial in Indo-Gangetic plain. So what happened? Suppose this is Himalayas. This is the upper Himalayas. So the ice from upper Himalayas melted, and they come down to Ladakh region, and they form a kind of mountains. So this whole process is known as glaciofluvial process. So similarly, there is this alluvial process where alluvial soil came to the Indo-Gangetic plain or river plains, and similarly there is this glaciofluvial process where glaciers portions the came to the higher regions of mountains and stay there. So these have become a reason for high latitudes. And also there's this climate of Ladakh is extremely harsh environment, and one of the highest and driest inhabited place on earth, and it is also referred as cold desert because it has both feature of climate and desert, means Arctic and desert climate, means it is as cold as Arctic, and also there is no vegetation similarly to desert climate, so it is referred as a cold desert. And the entire area is nearly devoid of vegetation, as I have already discussed. And also these include wide regional and seasonal fluctuation in temperature, and the fluctuation is from minus 40 degrees centigrade to plus 35 degrees centigrade in summer. So there's this about 75 degrees of temperature fluctuation in Ladakh. So it is very hard for any plant to survive in these kind of weathers. So that's why there is this desert in Ladakh. And also there is this annual rainfall of 10 centimeter to 13 centimeter, or basically a snowfall over this region. And due to highly humid altitude, there is also low humidity. So as we go up in altitude, the humidity will fall. So similarly in Ladakh region, there is this less humidity, and radiation level is highest in the world, because Ladakh is just close to Himalaya. So the radiation level, as we go up, the radiation level increase. So similarly, the radiation level in Ladakh is among the highest in the world. And also the soil type is gravelly and sandy loams on the alluvial area, and silt and clay loams on floodplains of Indus. So as we all know, the map of Ladakh is here. So the Indus River, which flows in Pakistan, also flows in Ladakh. So there is this alluvial character also in that river. So that I have said that soil is coarse and sandy, and when it comes to the floodplains of Indus and all that. And also there is this importance of Ladakh to both India and China, because there is this complicated history between these two countries when it comes to Ladakh. And also China, since 1950, China has this kind of occupation interest when it took Tibet. And now there is this different clash happened in the Ladakh province, Ladakh state. So because it is rich in natural resources, because Ladakh is situated with upper reaches of Indus watershed, and it support about 120 million people in India. Means the Indus River support like a state of Haryana, Himachal, Jammu Kashmir, Punjab and Rajasthan, and about 93 million people in Pakistan also, like Punjab province. So Indus is so much of river, so much of importance. So Indus is a rich natural resource. So China is eyeing on this resource also, on the water resource of Indus. And also there's this solar radiation. So as I have discussed earlier, that Ladakh is on high altitude, so the solar radiation is high on there. So we can utilize this solar radiation for setting up solar panel, as the population is very negligible in some portion of Ladakh. So solar panel can definitely be used there. And also there's this geothermal potential of Ladakh, because surveys has identified geothermal resources in Ladakh, and which is suitable for exploration and development. And these resources could be developed for grid connected power system, or like we have, like now we have coal based or nuclear based, these kind of power system we have. Similarly, what happened in geothermal resources, suppose this is a river and it's releasing some steam. So this steam can be used sorry so this steam can be used to move turbine. So when this steam work contact the turbine, it start moving. So there's this one of the cheapest method of producing electrical energy. So by this way, geothermal can be of a major help in Ladakh. And moving on, there is this booming tourism industry to Ladakh also. And also Ladakh provides connectivity to Central Asia, South Asia and Middle East, because especially Central Asia, because it provide market access also to Central Asian market like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan. And we all know that these portions are very rich in uranium and cotton, oil and gas resources. Also there is this energy security prospect of Ladakh also, because in future oil and gas pipeline from Iran and China will pass through this corridor of Ladakh. So this also became important. And also geopolitically Ladakh is very important, because it's on the ancient Silk Route which passes through this region, and it's help in a vital role in development of culture, religion, philosophy. And also there's this geostrategic location, because it's at the junction of India, China and Pakistan. So we all know, whenever a state or a portion is at the junction of different countries, it becomes geostrategically important. So seeing the map of this Ladakh here, see here, there's this Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Here this is Akshay Chin, which is China occupied, and here this is Ladakh. So Ladakh here is close to Pakistan also and China also. So it also plays a basic geostrategic importance of location. And there is this India-China border dispute happened. So what happened that there are many India channel dispute which happened on line of actual control. This is the line of actual control, and this Pangong Lake is there, Galwan Valley is there. So these things were in news a few days back because Chinese aggression was there. And also we know that this portion, with this complete portion of India, that is Aksai Chin, is been taken by China, and China is now further want to push India away in this region. So moving on, what were the border dispute and all that? Because whenever a news came, we have to cover the 360 aspect of that news. Because here the news is simply that the state minister, the only member in Lok Sabha, asked for a complete statehood for Ladakh. So, because this was a issue in Lok Sabha, and because UPSC has this habit of asking, backlinking the topic, and we will see that some topic which were happened in like 1 or 2 years before, they have been asked. So we that's why we are covering this 360 aspect. So moving on with that, the main Indo-China border dispute is that the origin of contention date back to British Raj, because they failed to demarcate the border between its colony. Like India and China both were the colony. China got independence in 1949. India got independence in 1947. So these both were colonies of British, but they failed to demarcate a clear border between these two. And also, recently there was this standoff at Sangong So, Galwan Valley, Demchok, and Daulat Beg Oldi in eastern Ladakh. So these were the thing. And also the Galwan Valley come under subsector north, which lies just to the east of Siachen Glacier. So Siachen Glacier, we all know, is a very important strategic location, because it is close to, see here, Siachen Glacier is here, and it is close to Akshai Chin and this China part also, and also to Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So these things are important for India. Siachen Glacier is definitely important for India. And also both country are rising nation, because they have like about 3800 kilometer long border, and most of them are disputed, apart from a few areas in in like central of the India, but most of the part is largely distributed. And this basically revolve around two main boundary design that have been put forward. First was India McMahon line, and India accepted this McMahon line, but China never accepted the border, stating that Tibet was never independent. He said that Tibet is always a part of China. And also in 1962, Chinese troops crossed McMahon line, and after that, China pushed forward establishment of line of actual control. So as we are seeing here, this is line of actual control. Previously, this was not the border; it was McMahon line. So between Tibet and China. So now this is the new border after the 1961 war. So in China is pushing, as we have seen, that China is pushing Indian borders. And however, none of these boundaries have ever been anchored in binding bilateral treaty, and so the status of Indo-Chinese border in western section of the time is still unsolved. And many efforts have been done from Indian side to make this problem, to for solution of this problem. So moving on, as we were discussing the Central Asia, of because of the Tibet part, there is this also news from Central Asia that five foreign ministers reached Delhi, giving a Pakistan sponsored OIC meet a escape. So or Pakistan, as we all know, that he is conducting OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries meet. But as we all know that these five Central Asian countries are also basically Islamic countries, means the state religion is Islam, but they have skipped this meeting. And that became a very geopolitical scenario, because they have left the Pakistan side and came to India side. So what is the news? So external affair ministers Jaishankar will host India Central Asia dialogue, okay, with five foreign minister of Central Asian country. Whose are the country? Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. And they have arrived on Delhi. and our dialogue will be done on the development in Afghanistan, because these all countries are bordering to Afghanistan. And after the current shift over of government in Afghanistan, when Taliban took over, so these kind of things are became very much important for India, so that we can have a good relationship in Central Asia. And also, of particular interest will be plans to intensify discussion of Chabahar port, and which has not been actualized yet. And ahead of this meeting, there was this bilateral meeting also going, and Tajikistan has taken the toughest line on Taliban regime and host member of National Resistance Force headed by Ahmad Masood and former Vice President Amrullah Saleh. So Tajikistan actually favored the opposition of Taliban, and it favored National Resistance Force, which was headed by Ahmad Masood and also former Vice President Amrullah Saleh. And there is this level of cooperation also going on between India and Tajikistan, and many defense cooperation are going on. So these are basic news which was there. So we have to cover the 360 aspect of this news. So moving on, what are the aspect? So see, this is basically the Central Asia, this is Caspian Sea, and this is China. And also this portion is also a part of Central Asia, but these are not of much importance. Basically, this only this country as Azerbaijan and Armenia was of importance, because currently a war was going on, and there was this whole geopolitical scenario where Turkey was supporting Azerbaijan and Iran was supporting Armenia, like that. So this whole scenario was there. But basically, the Central Asian country comes from between from Caspian Sea to China and from Russia to Afghanistan. So these are the Central Asian countries basically, which were previously a part of erstwhile USSR. So Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, these are basic Central Asian country. And India have given a lot of effort to normalize the relationship after the 1990s, because when the Soviet Union, when the USSR disintegration happened, since then India is trying to make good relation with this country. So moving on with the Central Asian part. So what is Central Asian region? Central Asia is a region in Asia which is stretched from Caspian Sea in the west to China and Mongolia in the east, and from Afghanistan and Iran in the south to Russia, as I have said earlier. And the countries are this. And what are the India Central Asia ties? So India has a very old wish to to utilize the resource of Central Asian region and nations. And also, as I have said, that since 1990 New Delhi is trying to establish ties with them. And what are the trade and collaboration? And see, the India's trade with five Central Asian republics are about 2 billion in 2018, and since COVID times it has decreased, but not to up to that much. And there is this also potential areas for creating IT and tourism sector. And much of the trade which was routed through Iran, Russia, or United Arab Emirates. See, this is the problem with Central Asian country. Although Central Asia is so close to India, means this is India, but most of the trade which are happening to Central Asian countries are happening through Iran, or UAE, for suppose example here. So first Indian goods are going to Iran, and then they are getting to UAE, and similarly Indian goods are going to UAE, and then they are going to Central Asian countries. That's because there's this effect of Pakistan also, because we cannot directly go to bypass the Pakistan over here, and we have not been in good relationship with Pakistan. So that's why our relationship with Central Asian countries have also dipped down, because of the geographical connectivity. So we are going through Iran or UAE or different or any other countries. So this is the thing with Central Asia. And moving on, there are different efforts for connectivity of Central Asia also. For example, these are the different routes which is India is planning through INSTC, that is International North South Transit Corridor. And this is one of the major corridor that is India is developing, major infrastructure project of India outside India. And this was in response to the Chinese BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. So this was in response because China is was planning to make a, like they are saying, the string of pearls. Like they were planning to make a significant geostrategic location on Pacific Ocean. But India is in as a response to that, India is planning to look onto Central Asian country, like that's why they have developed this international north south transit corridor. And also there are many efforts like Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India gas pipeline. So from right from Turkmenistan, gas pipeline is coming through Pakistan to India, that is Tapi. One project is that. And also there's this Chabahar port development is also happening, which India is doing, which can give us connectivity to Central Asia. And also there is this Dalram highway. So see, there is this. Suppose this is Pakistan is there, and there is this Afghanistan. So this Zaranj Dalram highway is connecting Zaranj to Dalram, and which is very close to Kabul. Basically, that's in the southwestern province of Afghanistan. So this highway was developed by Indian embassy and India, and also this INSTC. So moving on, because this INSTC is quite of importance, because it was recently also in news when it comes to Central Asia project. And whenever we are discussing Central Asia, we have to discuss INSTC also. So what is INSTC? In 2000, India, Iran, and Russia agreed on new route for trade, and also it was aimed at cutting the cost and time in moving cargo from Russia and India. And the pact was ratified in 2002, and it linked Mumbai in India to Bandar Abbas and Bandar Anzal in Iran. So see, these are the 2 points. The first is Bandar Abbas, and this is Bandar Anrab. So these 2 points were connected to Mumbai. And over the years, more countries have joined INSTC, and in 2010, India and Iran announced development of Chabahar port in Sistan Balochistan province. So see, this is the as soon as the Pakistan border is ending, there is this Chabahar area, which is at the Balochistan province. And Balochistan is an area which comprises of both Iran and Pakistan. So on the Balochistan side of Iran, India is developing Chabahar port. So moving on, there is this also, we have to make good relationship with Central Asian countries because of the proximity to China. See, China is so close to all these Central Asian countries. For example, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan have border with China, a huge border with China. So India also have to make a great effort with this country, so that the effect of China can be nullified over here. So the thing is, China trade with Central Asia is about 50 billion to 60 billion dollar. And what was Indian trade to Central Asia? Only $2 billion. So see, this much impact of China is there. So in China, relations was about 50 billion to 60 billion dollar. And the advantage is for China's favor due to geographical proximity. And if India want to grow, India have to surpass China at international market also. So what are the hurdles for India? There is this lack of mutual trust, because there is this Pakistan and China very close to Central Asia country, and we have not that much friendly relation with these two countries. And also there is this Pakistan factor, as I have discussed. And also Iran and US sanctions are there, because we have good relationship with Iran. Here is Iran, we have good relationship with Iran also, and we have good relationship with USA also. But seldom there are things due to which USA is imposing sanction on Iran. So we have to maintain this the equilibrium of our relationship between these two countries. So due to US Iran sanction also, we are facing different scenario and different hurdles in this kind of Central Asian relation. And also, why Central Asia is important for India? There is this rich fossil fuel in Central Asia, and also it is mineral rich. And Central Asia can give a huge market for Indian products. So these kind of things are there. And also Central Asia can help India in fight against terrorism, because it is close proximity to Pakistan and Afghanistan. So Central Asia can also help us there. So moving on with the next news, and after the news is that after 50 years, Gharial are there in the Gharial population in base reserve have been increased. Base conservation reserve has been in bias conservation reserve has been increased. So base is our Ramsar site, and we will be discussing this also. Ramsar site, and we will be discussing this bias reserve conservation reserve, and also we will be discussing how gharial are important. So after successfully introducing the critically endangered gharial in the rivers of Punjab, where it was extinct a half a century ago, and the state wildlife preservation wing is saying that now the population is releasing is increasing in the bias conservation reserve. So gharial were at a time gharial were completely extinct in these area. So they have reintroduced uh, this species on in the reserve system. So this is a very ambitious project, and similarly they are thinking about how they are increasing it, and it's a must read, because we can use this kind of points in our main sensor rating. For example, regular patrolling is there, so we can use these kind of points, because suppose a question is asked how we can increase the diversity in an ecosystem, so we can use this kind of project as a case study. So moving on, what is this gharial and all that? So its natural habitat is freshwater, especially in northern part of India, and also they are sometimes called a gavial, or types of Asian crocodile, and they are distinguished by their long thin snout, this thing, which resemble a pot or ghada in Hindi. We all know this pot is there. So like this they are resemble. And what is the significance of population of gharial? This is an important thing, because gharial presence just says gave us a good indicator of clean river water, because gharial do not live in salty or marshy river, so they only live in clean river system. So if a gharial is there in a river system, that is a sign that that river system is clean. So they are a great indicator of clean river. And also gharials are a type of crocodile that also introduce crocodile, alligator, caiman, etc. And India has totally three species of crocodile. First is gharial, second is magar crocodile, and third one is saltwater crocodile. And in comparison of all these three, gharial are the most shy one and unharmful species. And also the status of IUCN status is in it is in red list of species, and it is under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. And also it listed on sites appendix 1. Okay, that is convention on international trade in endangered species of wildlife, fauna and flora. So whenever the endangerity of a species is concerned, these three things are taken in care. First is IUCN, second is Wildlife Protection Act, and third one is sites. And also what are the conservation efforts that are being done for gharials are: first is Kukrel Gharial Rehabilitation Center in Lucknow, and second is National Chambal Sanctuary. See, chambals are the natural habitat of gharial. So for example, we have seen that they are they have kind of introduced gharial in BS reserve system, but chambal are the natural home of gharial. So these kind of efforts are been done for their conservation. And what are the different threat? So the gharial prefer sandbags as suitable habitat, and wild animals as well as human often destroy their eggs. So what happened that suppose this is a river and there are sand on the side of the river, so they lay their eggs on it. So different wildlife and human activity or anthropogenic activity destroyed their egg. So that is kind of a threat to gharial. And also increased river pollution, dam construction, and the fishing operation and floods have been a threat to gharial recently. And also illegal sand mining and poaching of gharials also have been a threat to them. So moving on to the base conservation reserve. See, this is base river, and this whole stretch of river of from both side is a Ramsar site, and about 150 kilometer this is there, and this is on the northwestern part of Punjab, and also very close to Pakistan. So moving on, see, this best conservation reserve system is a 185 kilometer. Sorry, it's not 150. This is not a 150 kilometer stretch, but a 185 kilometer stretch. Okay, and it's in the northwest of the state of Punjab, and the river is dotted with island, sandbars, and braided channels, and also creating a complex environmental support system which support biodiversity. And also there are more than 500 species of birds in this base reserve system, and also more than 90 fish species are there. And major threats of this uh, river system include urban and domestic pollution, as well as impact of agriculture along the river course. And the important thing is this is the Ramsar site, and for Ramsar site we have made a separate video, and I will be putting the link of that video on the description also, and with the PDF of this presentation. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel also, because everything in UPSC are interlinked. Suppose I have already discussed Ramsar sites, so about half an hour lecture is there, so you can see on to that. And also there is this news coming from economy section that forex reserve system declined down for third straight week. So what happened? These are simple fact that facts and figures that the for third straight week the nation forex reserve recorded a fall, and this time by 77 million dollar, and it reached this much. Okay, and the FCA drop, that is the foreign currency asset, is by 320 million dollar to 572 million billion. Okay, so from 321 million to 572 billion, and this was the data released by Reserve Bank of India. And what is this FCA, foreign currency asset? So these are expressed in dollar terms. The foreign currency asset includes the effect of appreciation or depreciation of non-US unit like pounds, sterling, and Japanese. And so don't worry about this, we will be discussing in a while that what are these things are. So this is was in news that forest reserve are down from 3 straight week. And also we have to know that what is foreign exchange reserve or what are forex reserve. So forex reserve or foreign exchange reserve are asset that are held by national central bank and or monetary authority, for example in India that is RBI, and it is generally held in reserve currency, usually US dollar, and to a lesser degree the euro, Japanese, and pound and sterling are also been held. And it is used to back its liability like native currency issue, and also reserve deposit by financial institution of the government. So in simple term, forest reserve are the kind of are total amount of foreign currency we have in terms of US dollar, or in some cases like in euro, Japanese yen, and pound sterling. And also there is this well, now we are also seeing that this forest reserve are mentioned in gold term also. So what are the objects behind holding forex reserve? Supporting and maintaining confidence of policies. Okay, provide capacity to intervene in support of national or union currency, and also it helps in absorbing the liquidity. Okay, during the different shocks in the international market, so it acts as a cushion. So what is foreign currency asset? As I have discussed that foreign currency asset have also fall. Here we have seen that FCA also dropped. So what are these FCA? FCA are asset that are valued based on currency other than country's own currency. Means suppose a Bisleri bottle is there. Okay, so in India this is known as it will come around 20 rupees, but based on other countries what it cost will be, that is known as FCA. And when it is in money term, suppose instead of this bisleri 20 rupees note is there, so what its value in other countries currency term, or in country's own currency term with respect to others, is known as FCA. And FCA is the largest component of forest reserve expressed in dollar term. And also FCA includes effect of appreciation or depreciation of non-US units like euro, pounds, and yen. And also currency appreciation refers to increase in value of one currency relative to another in forex market, and currency depreciation is the fall. Simple things are there. And in a floating exchange rate system, market forces based on demand and supply of a currency determine the value of currency. So there are different exchange rate system are there. There is this fixed rate exchange rate system, and also floating exchange rate system. So India is applying to floating exchange rate system, where market force based on demand and supply determine the value of a currency. How much a dollar will cost, that will depend on based on demand and supply of a currency. And just for a fact, India has the world fourth largest forex reserve, world fourth largest forest reserve. So when this is decreasing, it can be of a kind of worry for Indian economy also, because as we have seen also here, that it is declining for the third straight week. And suppose it keep declining for like 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, that then we will get back to the balance of payment crisis era of 1992. So moving on, what is the purpose of keeping foreign exchange reserve? To keep the value of their currency at fixed at a currency at fixed rate. So more the foreign currency, more the stability of your own currency. Okay, this is simple economics formula is there. And also countries with floating exchange system use forex reserve to keep the value of their currency lower than US dollar. So as I have said earlier, that India is applying to floating exchange rate system. And also forex reserve are necessary to maintain liquidity in the case of an economic crisis. And also RBI supplies foreign currency to keep market steady. And also it's ensure that a country meets its foreign obligation and liabilities. For suppose FDI is happening uh, of like $5 million. So suppose this is a very huge figure already, but suppose the FDI is happening. So if that country is giving us this amount is dollars, so we must have to return that in rupees to the associate of that country, that company in India. So how we are gonna exchange this much amount? So that's why this ensure that country meets its foreign obligation and liabilities. Means foreign exchange reserve ensure this kind of thing. And there is this also reason for high forex reserve. So why forex reserve were high? Because there is this rise in FDI was there. Okay. And also there was fall in crude price earlier, and also dollar outflow from overseas remittance and foreign travels have fallen. So these were the reason there was this high forex reserve. And now we can see that the crude oil price is stabilizing, means internationally is it's now increasing. And also FDI is not much there after the COVID pandemic. So these are the reason that the forex reserve is decreasing. So what are the importance of forex reserve? So there is this particular definition by Goldman Sachs. It is given, and I will be providing this PPT to our Telegram channel also. You can see onto that. So what is the importance of increasing foreign exchange reserve? So the government is in comfortable position if they are rising forex reserve, and the RBI in managing India's external and internal financial issue. And also it assists the government in meeting foreign exchange need and external debt obligation. And also this can boost our own currency, and appreciation in rupee can happen. And also this can help in our crisis management situation, like I have said, like balance of payment kind of situation can happen. Okay. So these kind of things are there. And also confidence in market happen. So stock can also rise, because people will have a confidence that okay, market is stable, so they will give more money to market. So these kind of things are there. That's why foreign exchange reserves are very important. So moving on to the next news. So Union and Education and Skill Development Minister calls for innovation in energy and semiconductor chip to give boost to Purvodaya and Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the keywords here are innovation in energy, semiconductor chip manufacturing, and Purvodaya and Atmanirbhar Bharat. We all know what is Atmanirbhar Bharat, that make in India and all that. Purvodaya is a particular concept which is aligned to development of northern state, especially Bihar and Uttar Pradesh particularly. And we all know that India is now in working in many different sectors for innovation in energy and semiconductor chip manufacturing. So what are the particulars of the news? So the minister stated that there are more than 50 crore children between age of 3 and 23, and there is an enormous opportunity in equipment its population for the right education and skill. So this can be helped with the help of IT sector, and energy sector will also play a huge role in this. And also Sri Pradhan, which is the Ministry of as I have said, Union Education and Skill Development Minister, said that low cost initiative, alternative energy models, innovative is a specialized area of semiconductor chip manufacturing will lead to economic empowerment and also job creation. And also it will also lead to Proboda and self-reliant India, self-reliant as Atmanirbhar Bharat. And also by 2035 India will be number one energy consumer. And also India's climate leadership has resulted in our country having the most conducive alternate energy business climate, like renewable energy RE is there. And also there are basically two important facts which we can take from this. First is that there are more than 50 crore children between age of 3 and 23. So the demography of India will be very much better when it comes to like after 5 years or after like 10 years. This demography, when these kids will be in workforce, then the demography of India will definitely improve. We can use these kind of things in our mains answer writing, and it will definitely means we can use this in like social issues, we can use this like economy, we can use this kind of fact. So this kind of things comes in very handy. And also by 2035 India will be number one energy consumer. So these two things are the key points of what he said. So this was all for today. See you tomorrow. Thank you. And do subscribe to our Telegram channel and YouTube channel and share it with your friends. All these are free, and we are going to plan a course on geography also. So stay tuned to our channel, and the whole geography which is necessary for UPSC will be taught. So thank you. Have a great day.